The story begins in 1959 on the sunlit beaches of Baja California. A tiny green sea turtle named Sammy hatches from his egg. As he makes his way toward the ocean, danger strikes. A hungry seagull swoops down to attack. But Sammy proves braver than he looks. With quick thinking, he spits into the bird's eye and narrowly escapes. Nearby, another hatchling, a little turtle named Shelly, is also attacked by a seagull. Together, the two manage to survive their very first challenge in life. Exhausted, Sammy drifts into a deep sleep on a small raft of wood. When the tide rises, the waves carry the raft into open waters, setting Sammy on the very first step of his long journey. Though still weak from his injuries, he accepts the ocean's pull, knowing this is where his adventure truly begins. By the next morning, Sammy finds his first real friend, a leatherback sea turtle named Ray, who also hatched the day before. The two bond instantly, and together they begin to grow up side by side, floating through the vast ocean on their little raft. 10 years later, in 1969, Sammy and Ray are no longer tiny hatchlings, but young turtles who've shared countless memories of their drifting home. One morning, Ray introduces Sammy to his new friend, Slim, a playful day octopus. But before long, their fun is cut short when disaster strikes. A nearby oil tanker wrecks, spilling thick black oil into the water. The ocean becomes dangerous, and the turtles are forced to take shelter to survive. Over time, their once trusty raft begins to weaken, breaking apart piece by piece. Eventually, it collapses completely, leaving Sammy and Ray stranded in the endless sea. Frustrated, the two argue, but things soon get far worse. A giant trawler's net sweeps through the waters, trapping not only Sammy and Ray, but also hundreds of fish. In the chaos, the two best friends are separated. Hours later, Sammy is tossed back into the ocean, battered and unconscious. But fate hasn't given up on him yet. A dolphin swims to his rescue, carrying him to safety and giving Sammy the chance to continue his incredible journey. After surviving the dangers of the ocean, Sammy eventually washes ashore. When he wakes the next morning, he finds himself in an unusual place, an enclosure built by a group of hippies. Their leader is a kind-hearted woman named Snow, and alongside her lives a witty French cat named Fluffy. Life in the enclosure is strange for Sammy, but it soon becomes less lonely when a much larger sea turtle named Vera joins him. Sammy, still young and hopeful, wonders if they're meant to be together. But Vera is far too old for him, and what grows between them isn't love, but a gentle, platonic friendship. By December of 1969, the hippies and their animal companions prepared for a very special holiday Christmas. On the beach, everyone celebrates together. Snow, who has grown especially fond of Sammy, decides to give him a gift. With a small brush, she paints a peace sign onto his shell, calling him their little peace ambassador. At first, Sammy doesn't understand it's his very first Christmas, after all, but soon he begins to appreciate the mark, not just as a present, but as a lasting symbol of peace that he can carry with him wherever he goes. Time passes, and one day, the hippies decide Vera should be released back into the ocean. They believe she and Sammy aren't meant to mate, so they set her free, leaving Sammy behind. Not long after, trouble arrives. The police come to evict the hippies from the beach, since their stay was never authorized. In the chaos, Fluffy the clever cat manages to trick everyone, and Sammy is left behind abandoned once again, with only the peace sign on his shell to remind him of the life he briefly shared on land. Back in the open sea, Sammy finally reunites with Vera. The two set off together in search of food, but their journey quickly takes an unexpected turn. They come across a frightened female turtle being chased by a shark. Without hesitation, Sammy and Vera spring into action. Working together, they manage to outsmart the predator and save her life. To Sammy's surprise, the turtle they rescued is none other than Shelly, the same hatchling he met long ago on the beach. Seeing her again stirs something deep inside him. As they drift together, Sammy turns to Shelly with a thoughtful question. Doesn't she ever get bored just swimming in circles, never truly exploring what lies beyond? He shares his dream of traveling across the world, far past these familiar waters. Sammy speaks of the icy oceans and the strange islands he once overheard humans talk about, places he longs to see with his own eyes. He even tells her about a secret passage he's heard whispers of, a hidden route through the seas that could lead them on the greatest adventure of their lives. With warmth in her voice, Shelly agrees. She likes Sammy more than she lets on, and the idea of journeying across the world with him excites her. Together, they set their sights on new horizons, ready to turn dreams into reality. And so, Sammy and Shelly's great adventure truly begins. Side by side, they travel across the vast ocean, meeting all kinds of sea creatures as they search for the legendary secret passage Sammy has dreamed of. Their journey eventually takes them all the way to the Panama Canal, a place they believe might be the passage itself. But the waters here are anything but safe. A sudden swarm of razor-toothed piranhas surrounds them. With courage and teamwork, Sammy and Shelly manage to fight them off, narrowly escaping with their lives. Just as they think the danger has passed, an eagle swoops down and snatches Sammy right out of the water. Carried high above the ground, Sammy is dropped into the eagle's nest, where hungry chicks are waiting to tear into him. Using every ounce of strength, he fights them off. But the situation becomes even more desperate when he hears the sound of a chainsaw buzzing below. The tree he's trapped in is being cut down. As the tree begins to fall, Sammy catches sight of a massive ship in the distance, heading toward what looks like the entrance to a mysterious place. When he finally escapes and plunges safely back into the water, he reunites with Shelly. Determined, the two follow the ship, convinced it's leading them straight to the secret passage. But just as they're about to cross through a lock, tragedy strikes. The strong currents pull them apart, and in the chaos of trying to pass, Sammy and Shelly are separated once again, each left wondering if they'll ever find the other. Believing he lost Shelly because of his own mistake, Sammy sinks into sadness. He drifts back into the open ocean, where he passes by countless sea turtle couples happily swimming together. The sight only deepens his loneliness until he comes across an elderly turtle pair who share incredible news. They've met Shelly, she's alive, and she's headed south toward the icy oceans in search of the very same secret passage. Hope sparks inside Sammy once more. Determined, he follows the trail, swimming tirelessly in the direction Shelly took. Along the way, he passes beneath a massive ship, where careless passengers throw piles of trash straight into the water. Too close to the vessel to escape, Sammy suddenly dodges falling debris only to have a refrigerator crash down beside him. His unusual ride carries him all the way to the frozen edges of Antarctica. There, he meets a gentle whale and asks if she can help guide him further. But before she can, danger strikes again. A whaling vessel, the Green Warrior ship, is nearby. The hunters spot the whale, and one of them fires a harpoon straight at her. She manages to dodge, but the weapon pierces the refrigerator Sammy is perched on, sending him into the freezing waters. Shivering and weak, Sammy's struggle doesn't go unnoticed. From the very same ship, a group of Green Warrior activists spot him in distress. Unlike the hunters, they're not there to harm sea life, they're there to protect it. They quickly rescue Sammy from the icy waves, pulling him aboard to safety. Aboard the Green Warrior ship, Sammy begins to recover from frostbite. One of the workers gently carries him through the vessel toward a small recovery room. On the way, Sammy's heart skips a beat inside a cage. He spots Shelly. She, too, is weak and healing from the freezing waters. Their eyes meet, and for the first time in so long, Sammy feels whole again, knowing she's still alive. When the ship docks in Monterey, California, Sammy is transferred to the Monterey Animal Rescue Center. Placed inside a pen, he looks around, still dazed from everything he's endured. Suddenly, an old, familiar face appears: Fluffy, the French cat. The last time Sammy saw him was back on the beach years ago. This time, Fluffy comes with an apology. He admits he lied back then out of jealousy, and though Sammy still remembers the betrayal, he sees sincerity in Fluffy's words. Fluffy goes on to explain that Snow, the kind hippie who once cared for Sammy, and the rest of her friends now work at this very rescue center. Sammy is stunned by how life has brought them together again. But before he can process it all, his eyes dart to the window. Outside, he sees workers preparing to release Shelly back into the ocean. Panic surges through him. He doesn't want to lose her again. He begs Fluffy to open the pen door, desperate to reach Shelly before she disappears into the waves. Just as Fluffy is about to help, the door swings open, and there stands Snow. She's shocked at what she sees. After all these years, the little turtle she once cared for has grown into a strong adult. Overwhelmed with emotion, she gently tells Sammy that before he can be released, she'll need to tag him. Only then can he return to the ocean, free to continue his journey and finally reunite with Shelly. Not long after being released back into the ocean, Sammy is approached by two female leatherbacks. They tell him someone needs his help. Curious, he follows them only to discover that the turtle trapped inside a container is none other than his old friend Ray. Overjoyed, Sammy rescues him, and just like that, the two are reunited after all these years. Ray introduces Sammy to his partner, a kind sea turtle named Rita. Together, they guide Sammy to an old shipwreck, where he begins to explore its hidden corners. But inside, Sammy gets an unexpected shock. He spots Shelly, and she seems to be flirting with another turtle. Rita quickly explains that the turtle's name is Robbie, and he's nothing more than a smooth-talking playboy. Determined to help Sammy win back the love of his life, Ray comes up with a plan. He enlists the help of a shark so Sammy can stage a daring rescue. The plan goes into action, and while the rescue may have been staged, Shelly doesn't mind. Deep down, her heart still belongs to Sammy. After everything they've been through, even their painful separation at the Panama Canal, she chooses him once more. Their love, stronger than ever, brings them to a beautiful decision. At the very same shipwreck, surrounded by their friends and fellow sea turtles, Sammy and Shelly are finally married. The ceremony is joyful, filled with laughter and celebration beneath the waves. When it ends, the newlyweds swim away together, side by side, ready to continue their journey across the world, not just as travelers, but as partners for life. The years pass, and by 29, both Sammy and Ray have grown old. Now grandfathers, they proudly watch over their families as the next generation of sea turtles begins its own journey. On the beach, Sammy's newborn hatchlings crawl across the sand, making their way toward the ocean just as he once did so many years ago. But suddenly, Sammy hears a faint cry coming from the nest. His youngest grandson is still trapped inside, struggling to break free from the sand. Sammy gently crawls over, his heart full of empathy. He knows exactly how the little one feels being the last to hatch, weak and frightened, unsure if he'll ever make it. Patiently, Sammy watches as his grandson fights his way out at last.